Well, I just thought it'd be interesting for the listeners to get an idea of how we all kind of became friends. I know Jesse and I did this early in the pod, in one of the first, second, third episodes. But I think we have an interesting like dynamic, like between us three, and we all have individual stories on how we all met, how we got close, and like what makes us like vibe the way that we vibe. So I think it would just be interesting to just get a and perspective for the listeners on like how this came about, how we are friends and whatnot. So I don't know if you want me to go first or you guys want to go first. Well, actually, you and Jesse met first, right? Or was it
Yeah,
me?
I don't
Yeah,
I don't remember. I don't have a good memory, so but I know he and I met through work, obviously.
yeah.
Um I don't think it was any other black people that worked there with us.
You got to
So
tell the
naturally,
you got to tell
you
the
always
Africa
gonna feel like,
story. You got to tell the Africa
yeah,
story.
yeah, he'll get into that. My God. Um, so naturally, when you see somebody that look like you'll be like, okay, let me fill them out, let me see what they about and all that. And here we are all these years later. But I think what I appreciate about him is just that he's a hard worker. That man grinds, and that's what drew me to him and want to be friends with him. And he wanted and wants more for himself, so that drew me to him as well. And we like a lot of the same things. We like a lot of the same music. We like a lot of the same like outfit, like fashion and stuff like that. Mine is a little bit more out there. I'll throw anything together. um and sports, film, television shows, all that. So when you find that somebody that you work with it's refreshing, because you see the people that you work with a lot of times more than you see your own family. You know what I mean? Like, you with them 8 hours a day, 5 days, out of the week and everything. And I talked about him being a hard worker. That's what separate him from a lot of the other people that we work with. And I was his manager. So, if I find somebody I could depend on, in a work relationship, and we share all these same qualities, then of course, I want to be friends with them. So, we've had a strong bond ever since. I definitely always have to let him know to, hey, please keep this a secret and don't tell anybody, because he has a big mouth.
Yeah.
So, that's the only thing that I wish he could be a little bit better on. And then the fact that he got me into trouble with a customer as well, like, pissed me the hell off as well. You
What
could
was
tell that. You could tell that.
well, how'd you get him in trouble, Jesse?
Man. Well, obviously, let me start. Like, I hated him.
And that's okay. You know
No,
what? There's a lot of people that do,
no,
but that's okay.
yes. So my
I
first
don't go to
impression,
work to be liked.
no, what, and I agree because I'm the same way. But it's just funny because when we first started, I was new, and uh, obviously we don't say where we work, but anyways, we were working, and it was me and this other new guy. Shout out to Steve.
Steve.
It was Steve, right? And then there was a tenured person there that's been there for years, right?
Oh
And
my
then
God.
Blevins, and then it was Blevins. So it was like a Sunday. It was busy. Anyways, the
And we
system,
had a bunch of call offs too.
yes,
So
our
it was only four of us. And you talking about a busy location.
So yeah.
so we our systems went down, so we had to
So it
do
was hell.
everything we had to do was manual, right? So me and this other new guy, we were new, we're like, we don't know what we're doing. I guess we have to figure it out. The person that we were gonna rely on, she was off, and she didn't wasn't willing to stay. She was like, peace.
No, I said, hey, the situation. Like, is there any way that you could stay? She was like, yeah, I'll stay until I'm scheduled. And I was like, okay. So
Walked
then,
out.
the day went on. It was time for them to get off. And then she was like, I'm out. I
She
said,
left. So
okay.
I remember because I was like, "Hey, Blevs, you want? Can we take a lunch?" And he looked at me like Soldier Boy, lunch, lunch, lunch. And then 5 minutes later, hey, y'all gotta hold it down. We'll go to lunch.
That did not happen. That
No,
did
you got to
not
lunch that day.
happen.
You got to
That
lunch
did
that
not
day.
happen, dude.
You got to lunch that day.
Okay, you're
But
lying.
but no, he was stressed that day. But anyways, we were able to band together. We worked. We made it work. We sucked it up. And I think that time, because obviously I only hated him for 3 days, and then after that, like that time, I was like, oh shoot, like we're grinding together. You know, he always challenged me. I hate that he punched me every time I was with a customer. I'll be talking to somebody, he'll just come, just kidney shot me. I wanted to lose my job. Like there was a point I was like, I'm about to hit this guy, and but that was this thing. That was this thing. You know, you just had to learn. You just had to learn how to adapt. And then the same thing he said, like he appreciated that I was a hard worker. He would challenge me. Hey, how much was your commission? How much was this? What'd you do today? What'd you do today? He even had to force me to take lunches at times and breaks because I was trying to work through. So he was like, hey man, you need to take a break. Um, but I actually I admired like his emotional intelligence, the way he handled situations. He always kept his cool. So you know, he was kind of a role model as I was working, navigating through a new workforce because I've never been in this type of environment or field. So this was all new to me. So I was able to grasp an anchor, and he was able to like I was able to like study him, and obviously, like you said, we were able to click on certain levels. And then I had an opportunity. Then we got close, and then I had an opportunity to work with him. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna act like a favorite. I know he's my boy. I'm not gonna show anybody that this is my guy. Like I'm gonna work twice as hard. So I worked twice as hard. Learned a lot, propelled my career. You know, I look out. I ask him for advice all the time, and now I'm the one giving advice. It's kind of cool, like how roles reverse that point, you know. And I still obviously I still learn a lot from you too, but it's just crazy how the roles reverse sometimes. But back to the story, when I was early in my career, we did get in trouble because I told a customer we were located
That was weak.
we I
So
I
they called
Customer
the
called the store.
they
store.
called
Yeah.
the store, and I was like, they were like, hey, are you at such and such? But mind you, we've got so many calls because I guess people don't know where we're at. So we got so many calls like, hey, are you here? Are you here? So I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So finally I'm like, no, man, we're in Africa today. then I said, no, I'm just kidding. You're correct. We are here. And then I guess she was having a bad day. That's why you got to watch what you say, because you don't know how that other person is feeling. I learned that. And she was mad. So she came into the store thinking, because Blevins was
Remember, I
like,
said we were the only two black people, so
yes.
it's a 50-50 shot on who you gonna get.
Oh yeah.
And you know, because he's colored people,
I didn't say it.
she went straight
You
for
thinking
him.
it.
She went straight for him, thinking that he was the one doing it. But my guy Blevins, snitch. He held it
She was
strong.
like, "Why would you say that? That's not funny. I'm looking for you guys." Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "Ma'am, it was not me. And you're supposed to be a manager? That's not professional. You can't treat your customers like that." Ma'am, it was not me. And then all the while he's in the corner looking at me, and I'm looking at him as well. And
Man,
I'm just taking it. And then finally she ends up leaving, and I just walked away, man. I couldn't deal with it.
I'm looking like the guy, you know, the little black kid that's trying to get some
The
juice.
color kid.
Like he's looking like this. That was me in the
The
corner.
color kid.
Hey, but I've got that type of stuff where I had to take heat for other people twice over, man. So I understand how you feel. I've been able to receive that, and I understand that position you were in, and I apologize.
Andy, do you remember when we met each other or no?
Nah.
Vaguely. I think that
Were you guys managers at the same time or no?
I was
Andy
a
left
I
already.
was a I was newly promoted as a lead, and
But I was so nice.
he was already a assistant manager.
Hmm.
He had worked in a different store. We were in the same district. Um, but he stopped by one time because he I worked like basically in his backyard, like as far as like where he lived.
Mm.
And he had stopped by one time. He needed to use the computer, and obviously, like, respectfully came through and introduced himself, and we chatted for like, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes. But what I appreciated was that he tried to make a conversation. As I met a lot of like people that in our work field that just stopped by, and you know, they had a they were like, let's just say they were just big headed, like, and because I was just a lead at the time, I was newly promoted, like I was nobody, if you think of like the way the hierarchy works. And but that wasn't the case with him. So that was one of the first times. Another time he walked in and there he was doing store visits, and then he talked about how his store visits were going on previously before he got to my location. And you know, he gave me a lot of pointers on things that I could do differently, better opportunities with the store. That's what I remember, at least. And so from that time on, like I feel like we connected here and there, and the relationship like grew gradually, little by little, to the point where like we would probably like we exchange numbers or whatever, or he'd call the store, I would call him, and it was like just little bits and pieces of that. So I just feel like we just, our relationship just grew organically to the point where like where we became friends. But that's what I remember. And then
And brothers now.
brothers, yeah. And then
I even booked this COVID vaccine for him today. Like I was
hey,
his girlfriend or something.
for real, we were going back and forth on the
I said,
phone.
baby, I need you to get that shot before you go to Dubai.
Yeah, man. um but what I admired like his professionalism, and so I think that I aspired to display as much of that as I could at work. So I think that I got that from him, and I, you know, I've always appreciated him and his ethics. And so I, whether he knows it or not, I don't, maybe it's the first time I've ever said that, but you know, I admired that he was such a professional at work. And so that's work related. But you know, on you know, the personal side, like we just really became like he said, brothers. And so
Yeah.
there's so many times where like Blevs and I would like just have conversations that we probably just mentioned something, but that one thing led to like 45 minutes to an hour of just like nonstop dialogue.
You talking about
And
yesterday when Jesse had us on a